How we doing, guys? So last time you saw us, we were looking at all of the mythic rares for Tarkir Dragonstorm, and today we're going to take a look at the rare cards that are coming in Tarkir Dragonstorm. So first off, we're going to look at Ambling Stormshell. It's a 5 mana, 5/9 turtle with Ward 2 that reads, whenever this creature attacks, put 3 stun counters on it and draw 3 cards. Interesting. And also it says, whenever you cast a turtle spell, untap this creature. That's interesting. I wonder if there are enough turtles to go turtle tribal with this thing and just go crazy with the untaps. That's a very interesting card. I like the flavor win on it of turtles being really slow. So if it ever attacks, it just gets tapped down for 3 turns. Very interesting card. But as far as its usefulness, I think being able to draw 3 cards can be more easily done with other kinds of spells. It is a cool flavor spell though. Next up, Anafenza Unyielding Lineage is a 3 mana 2/2 flash first strike spirit soldier. And it reads, whenever another non-token creature you control dies, Anafenza endures 2. Okay, well, what's endure? Put 2 +1/+1 counters on it, or create a 2/2 white spirit creature token. Okay, that's pretty awesome. So it's a way for either itself to go large, or for you to create a go wide board state. So that's pretty interesting. I like endure. Next up we have Avenger of the Fallen. It's a 3 mana 2/4 with Death Touch. So that's the same stat line and keyword as Preacher of the Schism. Interesting. Next we have Mobilize X, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. And that means whenever this creature attacks, create X tapped and attacking 1/1 red warrior creature tokens. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. This is a very interesting card because it's the same mana cost as Preacher of the Schism. Same stat line, same death touch. The only difference is the Mobilize allows you to create a bunch of 1/1 attacking creatures, but there is no way to draw extra cards off of the Avenger, unfortunately. Unless you're playing black-white and you're running Caretaker's Talent, then you can draw cards off the tokens coming in, but I think I like Preacher of the Schism just a little bit more than this because of the other effects that it has. But aside from that, it's a pretty decent 3 mana 2/4. So pretty cool. I like it. I like having other options in the 3-drop slot. Next up, we have Awaken the Honored Dead. For a black, a green, and a blue, you get a Saga. And when it comes in, you put it to Chapter 1 and destroy target non-land permanent. Okay, that's pretty awesome. Reminds me of something the Old Gods, Binding of the Old Gods that came out in Kaldheim. That's right. Part 2 is mill 3 cards. Okay, that could be pretty useful in the right decks. And part 3 is you may discard a card. When you do, return target creature or land card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, interesting. I think this will see play, mostly because of the destroy target non-land permanent part of the first part of the saga. And the other 2 parts you can fit into many different decks, even if you aren't capitalizing on the other 2 parts of the saga. The first part of the saga is going to always be beneficial. So I think Awaken the Honored Dead could definitely see some slots in the right deck. Next up we have Barren Steppe Siege, 2 white black enchantment. As this enchantment enters, choose Abzan or Mardu. Abzan, at the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Or Mardu, at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature of their choice. Hey, that's a pretty cool effect. I like the Mardu portion of this a little bit more than the Abzan portion of it, just because I'm more of a control player than anything else, so having more ways to make your opponent sacrifice things recurring is really good for me. So I think if I play this, I definitely would choose the Mardu side. Next up, we have Bloom Vine Regent. It is a 5 mana 4/5 dragon, and it has an omen on it. And omens are kind of like adventures, just with a different keyword. The omen is claim territory, 3 mana sorcery omen. Search your library for up to 2 basic forest cards, reveal them, put one onto the battlefield tapped, and the other into your hand, then shuffle. Okay, now bear in mind that is basic forests, so you can't just go grab a dual land that has the word forest on it. It has to be a basic forest. But you can go get 2 of them, so it's a kind of cultivate. Then you have the creature side of it, which is a 4/5 flying. Whenever this creature or another dragon you control enters, you gain 3 life. Okay, so it's an okay dragon on the creature side. I think a lot of people are going to be playing this for the omen part of the card. One key difference with omens versus adventures: when you cast the adventure side of a card, the card goes into exile, and then you can later cast the creature side of it later. With omen, it says you shuffle this card into the deck, so the card itself goes back. So you really need to choose omen or creature. Unlike the adventures, where you get to choose the adventure first and then the creature later. So a little something to keep in mind. Clarion Conqueror is next. Is a 3/3 dragon for 3 mana that says flying and activated abilities of artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers can't be activated. So triggered abilities are still fine, but activated abilities cannot be activated. It's pretty cool, like limiter effect. So if you put this will probably be like a sideboard card for the right decks. Next up, we have Kori Mountain Monastery. It's a red land, and this land enters tapped unless you control a plains or an island. So that's pretty cool. So really wants you to build in the Jeskai colors. It taps for a red mana, and you can pay 4 mana, tap it, and exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play that card. So this gives you a little bit of impulse draw. So that's kind of cool, actually. Next up is the Kori Steel Cutter. Artifact equipment, 2 mana. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has trample and haste. Flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 1/1 white monk creature token with prowess. You may attach this equipment to it. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, the token gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and has an equip cost of 2. So the equip cost is not too bad, but where this really shines is in like one of those either Jeskai or Izzet Spellslinger decks, because Flurry really shines with this card. Being able to just equip the card onto a creature without paying the mana cost is really strong, and giving +1/+1 trample and haste to whatever creature it's on is really cool. So I'm thinking we're going to be seeing a lot of Kori Steel Cutter. Next up, we have the Dalkovan Encampment. There's a land that reads, this land enters tapped unless you control a swamp or a mountain. So just like the Kori Mountain Monastery, this is the Mardu version. And it taps for white, or you can pay 2 a white and tap. Whenever you attack this turn, create 2 1/1 red warrior creature tokens that are tapped and attacking. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. Thing to keep in mind with that is the way this card is worded. It says whenever you attack this turn, not the next time you attack, whenever. So they are anticipating you running spells that would allow you to attack more than once during the turn. Dalkovan Encampment would be really good for a deck with like relentless assault effects. All right, next up we have the Dragonfire Blade. It's a 1 mana equipment that says equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has hexproof from monocolored. Equipped 4, this ability costs 1 less to activate. Oh, pardon me. Equipped 4, this ability costs 1 less to activate for each color of the creature it targets. That's pretty cool, actually. So +2/+2, hexproof from multicolored. Yeah, and you can equip it for cheaper for each color in the creature. Not too bad. I've seen better swords, but for only a 1 mana to play, that's pretty decent. Next up, we have the Dragonologist. It is a 3-mana, 1/3 blue human wizard that reads, when this creature enters, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal an instant, sorcery, or dragon card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Also, untapped dragons you control have hexproof. That's pretty sweet. I can see Dragonologist slotting in as probably a 2-of in some I like Teamer or even Jeskai lists. It's a pretty cool card. Next up, we have Eshki Dragonclaw. This is a legendary creature human warrior for 1 and a Teamer. It's a 4/4 vigilance, trample, ward 1. Already, that sounds pretty sweet. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you've cast both a creature spell and a non-creature spell this turn, draw a card and put 2 +1/+1 counters on Eshki Dragonclaw. That's great. I like that a lot. Play this card. That is your creature card for the turn. And then play like a draw spell or a bounce spell or a burn spell or something along those lines. That's the criteria. Boom. Done. Easy. So pretty decent. And I can definitely see this card growing out of control really fast. Next up, Fangkeeper's Familiar. 1 and a Sultai for a 3/3 flash snake. When this creature enters, choose 1. You gain 3 life and surveil 3. Pretty cool. Fits the theme of Sultai. Destroy target enchantment. Very cool as well, especially in today's standard environment where there are so many really problematic enchantments running around. And 3, counter target creature spell. Awesome. Those are 3 very relevant abilities. The Surveil, destroying an enchantment, or countering a creature spell. All really great abilities on basically a Mystic Snake. Pretty cool. I personally will be playing a lot of Fangkeeper's Familiar. That is a great card. Next up, we have Fellothar, Dawn of the Abzan. Interesting. For an Abzan, you get a 3/3 trample human warrior that reads, whenever Fellothar enters or attacks, you may sacrifice a non-land permanent. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So if you got a go wide strategy and also a self-sacrifice strategy, this is the kind of card that would be really beneficial for you. And it tramples. Pretty cool. Next up, we have the Flamehold Grappler. It is a 3/3 for a Jeskai, and it has first strike. Reads, when this creature enters, copy the next spell you cast this turn when you cast it. You may choose new targets for the copy. That's fantastic. This is a great card for chaining more spells together. I like Flamehold Grappler. Next up, we have the Frostcliff Siege. 1 and an Izzet. For an enchantment that reads, as this enchantment enters, choose Jeskai or Teamer. Jeskai is whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. Okay, that's awesome. We like that. Teamer says creatures you control get +1/+0 and have trample and haste. That's also awesome. Jeez, I can definitely see someone playing like a full 4 of Frostcliff Siege just to get both portions of this enchantment, because that is a very, very good card. Next up is Glacierwood Siege. Is 1 and a what is green and blue? I'm so busy thinking about the new clans that I can't even remember what green and blue is, and it's Simic. 1 in a Simic enchantment. As this enchantment enters, choose Teamer or Sultai. Teamer, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, target player mills 4 cards. That's pretty good. That's really good, actually. Wow. Yeah. Mill is definitely on the menu with this card. Sultai, you may play lands from your graveyard. Also pretty cool. Yeah. The Teamer part is probably what I would be playing this card as. That is a really good spell effect. Okay. Next up, we have another land. This is the Great Arashan City land. As this land enters, tapped unless you control a forest or plains. So this is your Abzan version of the card. It taps for black mana, and it says 1 and a black, tap, exile a creature card from your graveyard. Create a 1/1 white spirit creature token. That's really good. That's basically a Kildoran outpost, but in black. That's pretty good. I like that. Next up, we have Herd Heirloom. It is a 1 and a green artifact, and it taps for 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell. And tap until end of turn. Target creature you control power 4 or greater gains trample. And whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Wow, that is actually really, really good. It is a 2 mana rock. And in standard, I believe we only have one other 2 mana rock, and that's the Iron Crag. This one, unfortunately, has a stipulation on what you can spend the mana on. But in an Abzan style deck, which obviously this deck wants to go into, you're going to be playing mostly creatures anyways. That's a really good card. I like that a lot. Hollow Merc Siege is next. This is a Golgari to cast. It's an enchantment, and reads when this enchantment enters, choose Sultai or Abzan. Sultai is whenever a counter is put on a creature you control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Okay, cool. And the Abzan reads, whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature, and it gains Menace until end of turn. Interesting. I do like the Menace and the +1 on attack. That's really good. And also the Sultai being able to draw cards means it's probably going to be the more chosen side of this siege, but both abilities are pretty good. Inevitable Defeat is next, so it's 1 and a Mardu for an instant that reads, this spell can't be countered. Exile target non-land permanent, its controller loses 3 life, and you gain 3 life. Wow! That is a great card. It can't be countered, it exiles anything, and then drains your opponent for 3. That card is going to see a lot of play. That's a really good card. Okay. Next up, Kishla Village is the green land. It says this land enters tapped unless you control an island or a swamp. So this is the Sultai version. Taps for a green, and 4 mana, tap, Surveil 2. Okay, easy. So it's a reusable Surveil card. Pretty cool. Next up is Chorus the Fangkeeper. This is a 2/1 creature. It costs 1 and a Sultai to cast. It's a zombie warrior, and reads, it has indestructible. Great. Whenever Kotis deals combat damage to a player, exile the top X cards of their library, where X is the amount of damage dealt. You may cast any number of spells with mana value X or less from among them without paying their mana costs. Okay, so this is a card that wants to get like a lot of +1 counters on it so that it can bash your opponent and then steal cards from the top of the opponent's library. That is a pretty solid card. I like that a lot. Let's reread the card real quick. Make sure we're not missing anything. When it deals combat damage to a player, exile the top X cards of their library, where X is the amount of damage dealt. You may cast any number of spells with mana value X or less from among them without paying their costs. Oh, wow. So let's say, like, for example, you get this up to 5, and you hit the opponent. And then you pull the top 5 cards off of their library. And then you can just play any number of spells that cost 5 or less for free right there. That's pretty cool. I like that card. Next up is the Lacid Prowler. 4 mana, Snake Ranger, 5/5. When this creature enters, you may mill cards equal to the number of lands you control. Renew is 1 and a green. Exile this card from your graveyard. Put X +1/+1 counters on target creature, where X is the number of land cards in your graveyard. Activate as a sorcery. Wow, Lacid Prowler works really well with Kotis. Who knew? Okay, Lotus Light Dancers is next. It's 2 and a Sultai for a 3/6 zombie bard with lifelink. It says when this creature enters, search your library for a black card, a green card, and a blue card. Put those cards into your graveyard, then shuffle. Ooh, I like that a lot. That is great for Reanimator decks. Because, like, you just go get what you need. Also, aside from Reanimator, this is good for spells that have like collect evidence on them. That's really good too. Yeah, having an Entomb effect on this card is really solid. It's a little on the pricey side. It's 5 mana to cast, so it's telling me it's not going to see a whole lot of play in Standard. Pardon me. But probably you'll end up seeing this in Commander quite a bit. Really cool effect on that. I like that a lot. Especially because it goes and gets 3 different cards. That's great. Okay. Next up we have Maelstrom of the Spirit Dragon. It is a land, and it taps for colorless. Or tap, add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast a dragon spell or an omen spell. Okay, that's cool. And 4 tap, sacrifice this land, search your library for a dragon card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Okay, so it taps for colorless. It can tap for mana of a color to cast a spell, a dragon spell specifically. Or you can pay 4, tap, sacrifice it to tutor up a dragon. That sounds kind of cool to me. I like that. Alright, what's next? Next is the Magmatic Hellkite. 4 mana, 4/5, Flying Dragon. When this creature enters, destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls. Its controller searches their library for a basic land card, puts it onto the battlefield tapped, with a stun counter on it, then shuffles. This is actually really solid. Like, sure, your opponent gets to go get a basic land, but depending on what phase of the game is in, you can definitely basic check your opponent with this. Like, if they don't have any more basic lands in their deck to dig up when you drop the Magmatic Hellkite, then that's just straight up land destruction. But also, like, there are so many non-basic lands in Standard right now that are really important to certain decks. Magmatic Hellkite is a fantastic answer to that, because not only is it an answer to something like, say, Fountain Port, or God, what was it? The land that creates Phyrexian Mites, like really solid lands, or any of the mana lands for that matter. And it's also a 4/5 Flying Dragon. It's a threat that needs to be answered. That is a really, really good card. I can definitely see this seeing play. Okay, next up is Meringue River Regent. It is a 6 mana, 6/7 Flying Dragon. It also has an omen on it, so let's read the omen part first. Coil and Catch, 4 mana, instant omen. Draw 3 cards, then discard a card. Okay, that's great already. That's awesome. That's a great draw spell for the early game, or early to mid game, I should say. And the other side of it is a 6/7 Flying Dragon. It says when this creature enters, return up to 2 other target non-land permanents to their owner's hands. Wow, that's actually really good. Yeah, comes in, bounce 2 permanents. That's awesome. Yeah, that's just an all-around pretty decent card. I like it. Alright, Mardu Siegebreaker is next. It's a 4/4 for 1 and a Mardu, obviously. It's a human warrior with Death Touch and Haste. When this creature enters, exile up to 1 other target creature you control until this creature leaves the battlefield. Okay. When this creature attacks, for each opponent, create a tapped token that's a copy of the exiled card attacking that opponent. At the beginning of your end step, sacrifice those tokens. Okay, so it comes in, it exiles something you already have on the table, and when it attacks, you create a tapped token that's a copy of the exiled card and is attacking the opponent. That pairs up really well with our friend the Magmatic Hellkite that we just got done talking about. So you have the Magmatic Hellkite on the table. It's already done its job of destroying a land. You drop the Mardu Siegebreaker. It gobbles up the Magmatic Hellkite until it leaves the battlefield. And then you can attack with the Mardu Siegebreaker, creating a token that's a Magmatic Hellkite, destroy another basic land. And if your opponent manages to destroy the Mardu Siegebreaker, boom, Magmatic Hellkite comes back out and destroys a basic land, or non-basic land. That is stupid on so many levels, and I love everything about it. Yeah, we're building a Mardu Siegebreaker deck. Absolutely. That is such an amazing card. All right, next up. What do we have here? We have Mistrise Village. This is, I believe, the new blue land that makes things uncounterable. This land enters tapped unless you control a mountain or a forest. Taps for a red mana and has red tap. The next spell you cast this turn can't be countered. Yeah. It says next spell, not non-creature spell, not creature spell. The next spell you cast this turn can't be countered. All for just the investment of an additional blue and tapping that land down. That is an amazing card and is easily going to be one of the chase rares out of this set. Everyone's going to want a set of these. Next up we have the Naga Fleshcrafter. 0/0, 4 mana, Snake Shapeshifter. It says you may have this creature enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield. So it's your creatures, your opponent's creatures, could be anything. It has a renew of 2 and a blue. Exile this card from your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on target non-legendary creature you control. Each other creature you control becomes a copy of that creature until end turn. Activate as a sorcery. Okay, that's fantastic. That is absolutely bonkers. It is a great way to do a sucker punch style attack. Let's say, for example, you're playing a deck that goes wide, makes a bunch of tokens, you got a whole bunch of just these dinky little 1/1s, but you have like one big dragon or one big angel on the battlefield. You renew Naga, boom, all your guys are big beefy angels or big beefy dragons. Smash the hell out of your opponent. It's a great finisher. I love this style of effect. Next up, Narset, the Jeskai Waymaster. So we got a new Narset. It is a Jeskai in color, obviously. It's a 3/4 legendary creature human monk that reads, at the beginning of your end step, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw cards equal to the number of spells cast this turn. Whoa. Okay, that's a very interesting variation on Narset. So, beginning of your end step, you drop your hand. So it could be, you could have a full hand or you can have an empty hand. It just says discard your hand. Then you draw cards equal to the number of spells you cast this turn. So if you popped off like 3 or 4 spells over the course of this turn, including Narset, by the way, and you had like, say, like only 1 card left in hand, yeah, sure, I'll throw that away and get a full grip right back into my hand. That's pretty silly. I don't know what kind of deck this is going to go into, other than obviously like a Jeskai Prowess style deck. Yeah, pretty cool. I like it. All right, next up is Nature's Rhythm. It's X green sorcery. Search your library for a creature card with mana value X or less. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Okay, so this is a specific tutor style effect that instead of putting it into your hand, it puts it directly onto the battlefield. Really cool effect. It also has Harmonize of X and quadruple green. Harmonize basically means you can play this from your graveyard. It's kind of like Flashback. Let's read the whole effect. It says, you may cast this card from your graveyard for its Harmonize cost. You may tap a creature you control to reduce that cost by an amount of generic mana equal to its power. Then exile this spell. So it's kind of like a pairing of Flashback and Convoke. It's a pretty cool effect. And I think Harmonize is going to be the standout mechanic that this set brings to the table. So, yeah. Next up, New Way Forward is 2 colorless and a Jeskai in color. It's an instant, and it says, the next time a source of your choice would deal damage this turn, prevent that damage. When damage is prevented this way, New Way Forward deals that much damage to that source's controller, and you draw that many cards. That is bonkers. So this is a way to fog a single creature or a single like damaging effect. Not only is it fogging it, but it's redirecting the damage back to the owner of the source, and then you draw cards off it. Like, what is the ideal usage of the card like this? Probably is going to be something like your opponent is attacking you with a gigantic mouse or something like that. It's like, no, you're doing it to yourself, and I'm going to draw like 5 cards off of it. This is a crazy good card. I can't wait to play it. Let's see what's next. Okay, next up we have Carsey Revenant. Very interesting. It's a 3/3 vampire for 3 with flying, death touch, and lifelink. Okay, already, this is a Vampire Nighthawk with +1 additional power. So, already, really good. You could just stop reading the card at this point, and it's already a great card. Renew, 2 and a black, exile this card from your graveyard, put a flying counter, a death touch counter, and a lifelink counter on target creature. Activate only as a sorcery. This card is amazing. It's a vampire. Vampire is a very relevant creature type in Standard right now. And the fact that you can just say, boom, another creature is basically me now, that's really solid. Like you putting lifelink, death touch, and flying on, like, say for example, you put this on something like, let's see, you're playing this obviously going to be in either Golgari or Sultai, because that's the kind of deck that mechanic works in. So you're probably going to be playing this, and you put it on, say, like a Glissa. That's dumb as hell. Suddenly you have a Glissa that has flying, death touch, lifelink. That's bonkers. It's such a great spell effect. I'm very happy to see that. Okay, next up, Rediscover the Way. This is another saga, and this one costs 1 Jeskai to cast. And it says, chapters 1 and 2 do the same thing. It says, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library, any order. Okay, that's pretty cool. It's a good little card selection effect. And then it says, on 3, whenever you cast a non-creature spell this turn, target creature you control gains double strike until end of turn. That's pretty solid. Not like super bonkers, but it can be a way to set up a really good alpha strike, especially because you get to basically mold the top of your deck with the first 2 parts of it. Okay, next up, Revival of the Ancestors is 1 and an Absan. Part 1 is create 3 1/1 white spirit creature tokens. Cool, we're going wide. Part 2 is distribute 3 +1/+1 counters among 1, 2, or 3 target creatures you control. Cool, now we're going tall. Part 3, creatures you control gain trample and lifelink until end of turn. Okay, this is pretty cool. We know what kind of deck this is going to go in. That's a pretty solid card. Alright, next up is Roar of Endless Song. This is 2 and a teamer. Part 1 and 2 is create a 5/5 green elephant creature token. Alright, sweet. That's awesome. Part 3 is double the power and toughness of each creature you control down a turn. Boom! Everybody's big and huge. We're gonna smash your face in. Okay, that's a pretty cool effect. Pretty expensive and slow, but it's a cool effect. Okay, Sage of the Skies is next. 3 mana for a 2/3 human monk. When you cast this spell, if you've cast another spell this turn, copy this spell. Let me reread that for a second. 2/3 for 3 human monk. When you cast this spell, if you cast another spell this turn, copy this spell. The copy becomes a token. So you cast like Opt or something, or some other 1 mana spell before casting Sage of the Skies, and then you play it, suddenly you have 2/3 flying lifelink creatures. That's pretty dope. I like that. That's a great spell. Okay. Next up, we got the man himself, Sarkhan, the Dragon Ascendant. It's 2 mana for a 2/2 legendary creature, human druid. When Sarkhan enters, you may behold a dragon. If you do, create a treasure token. But wait, what does behold mean? To behold a dragon, choose a dragon you control, or reveal a dragon card from your hand. So if any of you have ever played Legends of Runeterra, that is exactly how behold works in Legends of Runeterra. So this keyword was pulled directly from that game, and that's kind of a good thing, because that was a really good mechanic. I loved playing those cards in that game. So whenever a dragon you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on Sarkhan. Until in a turn, Sarkhan becomes a dragon in addition to its other types and gains flying. That's kind of awesome. So it's 2 mana. He makes treasure tokens, and he gets +1/+1 counters and becomes dragons. So he's a pretty decent little 2-drop. I kind of like him. I don't know how well he's going to fit into current standard. He's probably going to be like an early game play in an otherwise dragon-based deck. So I can definitely anticipate seeing him in the near future. But I'm not sure just how much impact he's going to have. But we'll see. Okay, next up we have a Scavenger Regent. It is a 4/4 flying dragon. Let's read the omen first, though. Exude Toxin. X black black. Each non-dragon creature gets -X/-X until end of turn. Okay, so it has a freaking Toxic Deluge attached to it. That's awesome. And also, the creature side of it is flying, ward, discard a card. When it comes to ward costs, I really like the discard a card ward cost. Like, anyone can just pay a little bit extra mana or pay a little life. Discarding a card to target the Scavenger Regent is a really heavy cost. So it's really, really solid. I think Scavenger Regent is going to see a lot of play. Next up is the Severance Priest. For 1 Abzan, you get a 3/3 Djinn Cleric. That's an interesting type line. Death Touch. When this creature enters, target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a non-land card from it. If you do, exile that card. Okay, already he has my attention. That's a pretty good card. When this creature leaves the battlefield, the exiled card's owner creates an XX white spirit creature token, where X is the mana value of the exiled card. Okay, not the best, but it's also kind of good because you can definitely hinder your opponent's game plan by taking their removal spells. But when this creature eventually dies, be prepared to deal with the card that it leaves behind. So, yeah, there you go. Next up, Sidisi, Regent of the Mire, is a zombie snake warlock. It's a 1/3 for 2 mana, and you can tap, sacrifice a creature you control with mana value X other than Sidisi. Return target creature card with mana value X +1 from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate as sorcery. Wow, that's actually really good. So it's a way to like trade cards in play with cards in your graveyard, so long as like the mana value kind of like matches up. That's really solid. I like that a lot. And you can definitely find ways to abuse that in a zombie deck. Okay, Sinkhole Surveyors next is a 1/3 Flying Bird Scout for 2 mana, and it says whenever this creature attacks, you lose 1 life, and this creature endures 1. Hey, that's pretty good. I like endure. So put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, or create a 1/1 white spirit creature token. So you can choose whether to go tall or to go wide with this card, and all it costs you is 1 life to do it. Next up, we have the Songcrafter Mage. What is this? So this is for a teamer. You get a human bard. This says flash. When this creature enters, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains Harmonize until end of turn. Its Harmonize cost is equal to its mana cost. Okay, so this is basically Snapcaster Mage, but it harmonizes instead of just doing a flashback. I think you're going to see a lot of this card. Any card like this that can give Harmonize or Flashback to any spell is really solid, especially in value-based decks or control-based decks. Stadium Headliner. So 1 mana 1/1 goblin with Mobilize 1. Mobilize reads whenever this creature attacks, create a tapped and attacking 1/1 red warrior creature token. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the end step. That's awesome. So it's a 1/1 that makes more dudes. That's exactly what we want to see from your goblin decks. And it has 2 mana. Sacrifice this creature. It deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature. Wow, that is really solid. That is a great 1-drop for a goblin deck. I'll be playing it. Next up, we have Stillness in Motion. 2 mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, mill 3 cards. Then, if your library has no cards in it, exile this enchantment and put 5 cards from your graveyard on top of your library in any order. That's really cool. I like this because it's not only a way to like stack your deck once you run out of cards in your library, but it's also a defense against opposing mill decks. So that's actually a pretty cool card. I can see some people playing this in the sideboard. Alright, next up we have Surok, the Elusive Hunter. 3 mana, 4/3, legendary creature, human warrior. This spell can't be countered. Alright, that already has my attention. Trample, whenever a creature you control or a creature spell you control becomes the target of a spell or ability and opponent controls, draw a card. Wow! That's an amazing card. 3 mana, 4/3, can't be countered, it tramples, and whenever a creature you control or a creature spell you control becomes the target of a spell. So you read that, that's creatures that are in play, or if someone tries to counter one of your creature spells, you draw a card. That is an amazing ability. I like that a lot. That card is going to see a lot of play. Teamer Battlecry is next. For 3 mana, a Teamer mana, I should say. It's a 4/3 Orc Ranger that says during your turn, spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each creature you control with power 4 or greater. Okay, that has my attention. That is actually a pretty decent card. And it says just spells you cast, not creature spells. Just any spell you cast costs 1 less for each creature you control with power 4 or greater. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so we can definitely build that deck. Alright, next up, we have Tursa Light Shatter. This is a 3/3 haste for 3 mana. It's an Orc Wizard. And it says when Tursa Light Shatter enters, discard up to 2 cards. Then draw that many cards. Then it says whenever Tursa Light Shatter attacks, if there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, exile a card at random from your graveyard. You may play that card this turn. Wow, that's actually really good. So 3 mana, haste, fill your graveyard up. She helps you fill your graveyard, and then you can just impulse play cards from your graveyard. That's actually really solid. I like that a lot. Next up is the Sib Sig Ceremony. 3 black mana legendary enchantment. Creature spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. Okay, that's pretty cool. Whenever a creature you control enters, if you cast it, destroy that creature, then create a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token. Okay, so I can see this being decent in a deck that wants to play a lot of things like from the graveyard. I don't know how good this is going to be, though. This is definitely going to be like a build-around style of card. So we'll keep that in mind. Next up, we have the Thunder of Unity. For 1 Mardu, you get a Saga. Part 1 reads, you draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. Okay, I'm into that. Parts 2 and 3 read, whenever a creature you control enters this turn, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. That could be really good for, go wide strategies. Definitely. Like you just have that on the table. Let's say, for example, you got a Cranko, or you got a bunch of ways to just spawn a bunch of little 1/1s. You can drain a lot of life from your opponent in 1 turn. That's a really good card. Next up, we have the United Battlefront. 4 mana, sorcery. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put up to 2 non-creature, non-land permanent cards with mana value 3 or less from them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. That is an amazing card. Because like for 4 mana, you get to choose 2 non-creature, non-land permanent cards with mana value 3 or less and pop them onto the table. So you can just go and get the Thunder of Unity that we just talked about, put onto the table. You could also get Caretaker's Talent or Simulacrum Synthesizer. You can get any of the really good enchantments or artifacts and just pop it onto the table. That is a really solid card. I think United Battlefront is going to be a great card. Okay, Voice of Victory is next. 1 and a white human bard, 1/3 with Mobilize 2, and your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Wow, that is a really good card. It not only neuters your opponent's spells for your turn, but it gives you Mobilize 2. And that's going to give you 2 additional creatures whenever this attacks. That's really solid. I like that a lot. And for only 2 mana, that is such a pushed card. So effective. Wow. Okay, moving on. Next up we have Warden of the Grove. It is a 3-mana 2/2 Hydra. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Whenever another non-token creature you control enters, it endures X, where X is the number of counters on this creature. Put X +1/+1 counters on the creature, or create an XX White Spirit creature token. That's crazy. Beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Whenever another non-token creature you control enters, it endures X. That's really solid. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's a pretty cool card. Okay. Windcrag Siege is next, so it's 3 mana, enchantment, and it says, as this enchantment enters, choose Mardu or Jeskai. Mardu is, if a creature attacking causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers additional time. Okay, so it's another in a long line of panharmonicon effects. Jeskai is, at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. It gains lifelink and haste until end of turn, because why not? That's really cool. I like that. I think I like the Mardu side of it just a little bit more, though. Okay, Winter Night Stories. 3 mana, sorcery, draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard a creature card. That's pretty decent, actually. It's draw 3, discard 1 if you discard a creature, and it has to harmonize. So yeah, I can definitely see this scene play in a Sultai like graveyard style deck. That's really good. Okay, Yathan Roadwatcher is next. It is a 3/3 human scout for 1 and an Abzan. It says, when this creature enters, if you cast it, mill 4 cards. When you do, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I'm sorry? When you do, return target creature with mana value 3. Wow, that is really good. So 4 mana gets you a 3/3, and then like if you mill like a Glissa, you get that Glissa onto the table. That is such a good card. Wow. Okay, yeah, we're playing with that. Absolutely. All right, next up, Zurgo, Thunder's Decree. It is a 2/4 Orc Warrior that costs you 1 Mardu. What a bargain. It has Mobilize 2, so it's going to create 2 creatures whenever it attacks. And it says, during your end step, warrior tokens you control have this token can't be sacrificed? What the hell? So it mobilizes, and you get to keep the tokens. That's insane. That's really good. I love that. Oh, that's so good. Okay. All right. Wow. Yeah. That Mardu Mobilize is going to be amazing. Okay. Next up, Abzan Monument is a 2 mana artifact. Actually, we are getting into the uncommons, and that is something we can probably talk about a little bit later, because this video is just going to be for the rares, and we've reached the end of our rares. So there it is. We're getting a lot of really cool cards with this set. Tell me what you think about these cards that we've talked about today in the comment section down below, and pretty soon we're going to be playing with these cards instead of talking about them. So until next time, you take care of yourselves.